Now let me show you my most favorite example of serial innovation. I'm extremely proud to tell you that I'm one of the only designers who've been working on gasoline dispensers across the years from 1988 to 2006. And these pumps are all designed by me. Each pump, for example, I designed has actually, has obsoleted my own earlier pump. This is a great example of how innovation can go forward. For example, my whole grounding in L&T was with the Z-line, petrol pump, where it became such a runaway success that even government enterprises were only giving orders for Z-line. And they would say tender for Z-line and nobody else could compete. And so this was the biggest, advantage. And after that, when I became a professor at IIT Delhi, the competitor came promptly back to me and said, can you please design a dispenser for me? And at that time, I took this as my PhD topic. And during the PhD topic, I gave this as a student project, and we worked on the bullet dispenser for Midco. And this bullet dispenser, again, became so popular that it actually cannibalized my own L&T Z-line pump. But it was after 6 years, so it was ethically correct to work on innovation after 6 years, because that was the the product lifespan we gave for each product. They're the mother of all oil companies. ONGC came to us and said, can you please design a pump for us which will be the best in the world? And that pump again was very, very interesting, where we collaborated. By this time I'd finished my PhD. We collaborated with NID, and in fact NID got the order for this petrol pump called the Oval. They collaborated with us. Then we worked with Midco, a company with which we designed the bullet dispenser, and we came up with this next product, which was completely using great user insights, a tremendous amount of new technology and materials, and of course very good aspects of creative ideation, and coming up with this oval shape, which was very, very efficient, very good maintenance capabilities, and using contemporary aesthetics and styling depending upon how the new canopies and designs are being done. So this became very, very popular, but this product didn't go beyond the pilot production. And then finally, we worked with Midco again as a retainer consultant from IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, where we designed the Sure-Fill Midco dispenser. And you can see this dotting all over the country today. And it's already all the other 3 products are now out. And the only product which is now running is the Sure-Fill from Midco. And this is a multi-hose dispenser, and you have multiple fuels. So you have this multi-hose dispenser coming in. Let me quickly show you the design basis, the thinking which goes behind developing products. How does creative ideation, how does building concepts at different stages help in taking things forward? Let me show you a quick video on how we started from a very, very small sketch, build models, and then took the project forward. Can I have the video, please? Look at how we took analogies and came up with some of the renderings. We call them the totem poles, and because the petrol pumps are on the road, and they're like signals for you to come and fill petrol. So we took those examples and made renderings. After that, we made small scale models. And to be frank with you, the maximum creativity came when we built these models, and you can see the predecessor over there. And after selecting 3 out of these models, we built full-scale thermocol models. These are full-scale. In fact, at that time, it was very interesting that the company was amused that I could make full-scale thermocol models. But then we got a lot of insights into manufacturing and design when we made full-scale. And then we selected 2 and made prototypes. And these prototypes were tested in the field. And then we could then choose one. And we chose the Z-Line because of its novelty, because of its challenging of engineering. And L&T is called Imagineering. So we said, are the engineers ready to take up this challenge? And they said, yes, we are ready. So that's how this pumps became very, very popular in the 90s, and you can see them all over the world. The biggest challenge, because satisfaction for us was that we were very, very happy that the children during those 90s were sketching petrol pump as a Z shape rather than as a box. And that's the type of penetration these products have. And you can see how the whole journey went from the Z-Line small scale model to a thermocol model, to a prototype, to a mass production. So that's the beautiful aspect of how you need to really make mock-up models a lot to access innovation to take this forward. So that is the whole journey of the Z-Line petrol pump. But let me tell you some features of how this Z-Line petrol pump was very, very popular, and and why it was very popular. We had to produce pumps cheaper than the competitors, and the competitors were small players. They were not sort of people who were having large overheads. But L&T used to have large overheads, so we had to come up with some innovative aspect of coming up with design where we could reduce the cost. That was a very, very important component. While reducing cost was an important component, and another important aspect was that we had to stand out in the market. The standing out aesthetics was also as important, and you can see this Z-line, because of this shape, unique shape, it was very identifiable, and L&T was out of business, so they had to make it very, very identifiable. So here in this particular product, we reduced the sheet metal consumption by nearly 25 to 40%. So with that reduction, our price fell down, and the product was much cheaper. We also have user convenient display panels where the angle of the panel is so good that you can very good angle of vision. We had of course the innovative shape I talked about, how the pump makes look inviting. And we had this very good, excellent cost to feature design. The maintenance of this pump was very easy. And then we have very interesting situation coming up where pump owners started demanding for the Z-line petrol pump, because everybody there in the field started associating the Z-line pump with better quality petrol and better measure of petrol. And that measure was happening because of technology. Of course, we had some very good technology inside the pump where we had unidirectional bearings, so there could be no cheating coming up. But the biggest highlight for us was that the customers felt they got better quality petrol because of the shape of the product. So we always keep saying that aesthetics and visual perception is as important as technology. So here it's a very good example of how your product features and aesthetics can play a vital role. Now let me quickly show you this slide of the valleys of death. So as I told you, the L&T, for example, was extremely, extremely good from the prototyping, the pilot production, and the mass production. So they were very good. What they were missing was the design process. So just by plugging in that, one single designer with four team members with CAD modeling, drafting, and modeling, with just 4 team members, we could take care of the 700 manpower in my petrol pump division and make innovation happen. So this is very important, that you need your efficiency model, but you need to have a separate department for innovation where their major job is only innovation and had no other work in L&T other than coming up with the product. And the whole team was working as a core team. I'll show you how all this was used for developing the collaborative model for innovation. So here now, let me take you through the bullet series now. So this was a PhD topic. And I'm, also again extremely, I would like to explain to you how this was inspired by a Nokia mobile phone. At that time, the large, you all know mobile phones were the shape of a cordless phone at that time. And this was inspired by Nokia mobile phones. And then, to my biggest surprise, creativity and analogies somehow gives you tremendous amount of features. When we inspired by the mobile phone and we provided the, hose coming from the top, there was tremendous amount of convenience for the user. The user who was filling the petrol to you was actually very, very happy because all the load was carried by the pump. Similarly, it was very easy to maintain because the whole design was actually, sort of done by way of the whole maintenance. The panels come out, it was a chassis design, the top panel folds, and maintenance is very critical because some petrol pump gets spoiled, they have to go to the field and maintain it. And that is the whole challenge over here. And you can see these 2 petrol pumps are actually prototypes. By this time, the technology grew up so much that we could build models and prototypes, and the prototypes could be put on field, and it was very well noticed by Bharat Petroleum, and they gave a huge order of taking this product forward. Similarly, again, we had this, very, very user-friendly oval petrol pump. They had great branding. ONGC is like the mother of all oil companies, and this became again, talk of the town. And these pumps they ran for nearly 6 years. But this didn't go from pilot to mass. This remained at pilot. That's why we're not taking the innovation cycle. If in innovation, it's very important that you reach large-scale production, and the user is delighted. The user delight is extremely critical. then only we can say innovation has happened. Either it's a nice idea, it's a good idea, it's a creative idea. But if the innovation doesn't reach the market, if the end user and the users all around are not happy and are not delighted by the design, then we can say that it's not innovation. So this, for example, is a great idea and great design, but it's not innovation. So it doesn't go through the serial innovation path. Now then I will again show you the creative ideas which go into building the oval pump. I would like to show you the rendering, the rig, and the the final product. And that's very interesting for you to show, because rigs become very important in design. Look at the mock-up now, look at the rig, and look at the final product. A working rig is very easy to rig up, because you're a petrol pump company and you can rig this up very good. And this is a very important journey for innovation, where working rigs are very critical and they help you reach your end product very, very fast. And look at the mock-up. The mock-up also was actually done by using very interesting sort of aspects of vinyl printing, which became very big as advertising banners. You must have seen this Kodak who puts up a girl outside their stores. So we use the same vendor to produce a mock-up where we could show the design to Subir Raha, who is the CEO of the company, and we could take this thing forward. And then, for example, we had the Sure-Fill in 2006. I built a whole large team in Midco. The team was nearly the size of around 20 people to take innovation forward. And by this time, L&T was quite upset. They were not able to come up with new innovations. So they actually sort of sold their company off to Gilbarco, who is an American company. And we kept Gilbarco out of business, out of India for nearly 20 years.